Members of the J Area, welcome back to another Monday night live stream here as we talk about the fallout of WWE Monday Night Raw, as well as looking forward to this upcoming weekend's action in Perth, Australia, as the WWE holds their latest premium live event with Crown Jewel. 5 matches on the card as of right now, and we're going to go through each of those scheduled matches, give our honest reaction to them, as well as our predictions as to who will emerge victorious from each scheduled contest. Of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr., welcoming you here to the J Area Wrestling Show and giving our fans, our friends, an opportunity to join in on the live stream. Before we start to dive into the matches, I want to make sure to give you guys that opportunity to join in the chat, join in the discussion. The only way you can participate in these live streams is if you are a subscriber. So make sure you subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all things pro wrestling, as well as keeping intact with these live streams, checking out our monthly videos, and while you're even at it, why not consider becoming a member of the Main Event Mafia, where you get exclusive content like videos, shorts, posts, polls, etc. for our diehard fans here in the J Area. Monday Night Raw holds another show. Monday night, obviously, Raw, that's what we do on Mondays. The main event being CM Punk and LA Knight. Yeah. Taking on the team of the Usos. It was a good match. I like the back and forth that we had earlier in the night. That promo that had both Usos, LA, and CM Punk on the ring. Captivating. Had everyone in attendance interested. And I know we had my interest as well, as I'm a big fan of all four of those individuals. But it led to the matchup. We saw a little bit of a breakdown there between Jimmy and Jey Uso, a slight collision there that may have been on account of a miscommunication, if you will. And CM Punk and LA Knight, of course, they're not best friends. They're just tag team partners for the night. CM Punk gets the better hand of Jey Uso, delivers the GTS, and LA Knight comes out with a blind tag to take the victory away from CM Punk. I like what I see here. Within the World Heavyweight Championship title picture, we have contenders coming from all corners. All of them were a part of that fatal four-way matchup at Clash in Paris, but none of them are finished with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins taking a little bit of a detour here when it comes to the championship chase, as he will be going up one-on-one against Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, for their Crown Jewel Championship match at the Crown Jewel event. But before we get to that, I want to talk about the opening of the night. The opening promo of the night was Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. It was textbook WWE. You have a babyface come out, cut a promo, gets interrupted by the heels, and it leads to a matchup. The only difference was it was not for a match later in the night, but rather later in the week, as it has officially been announced that an Australian street fight will take place with Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed, one-on-one at the event. Am I excited for the matchup? Sure, I'm a fan of Bronson Reed. I think Roman Reigns is one of the best in this generation for sure. But to me, of the 5 matches that are currently on the card for Crown Jewel, this is the matchup that I'm not all that excited about. I've already seen this matchup prior. I look at what we're doing here, and it's just a means to an end when it comes to the Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns story. Obviously, if you're just joining us here in the world of WWE, you might not know that Bronson Reed stole the shoes, not one, but 2 pairs of shoes of Roman Reigns, and is the self-appointed tribal thief of the WWE. Since then, he does have a pinfall victory over Roman Reigns, and I feel like this is going to be the opportunity to get Roman Reigns his win back. Roman Reigns is the kind of individual who's not going to take too many losses, certainly to someone on the undercard. No disrespect to Bronson Reed, but he's not a Cody Rhodes. He's not a Seth Rollins. He's not a Brock Lesnar. He's not on that next tier of superstars. He got 1 victory over Roman Reigns, and we applaud him for that. Great showing there by the big one. But Roman Reigns is going to come back, get his victory back, and reestablish his dominance on Monday nights. I'm looking at Roman Reigns getting the victory here at the Crown Jewel event. And then moving past that, I'm curious to see where we go with the Usos and Roman Reigns storyline at this moment. Because obviously, excuse me as my allergies kick in, we know that Jey Uso and Jimmy, they have a little bit of a differences here at the moment. Jey Uso has been showing some tendencies of a young Roman Reigns, rather a young tribal chief Roman Reigns, who was very much just abrasive. When it came to his relationship with his cousins, he really thought it was his way or the highway, and especially the way it's been with Jey Uso. If you could go way back in 2020, Roman Reigns has made it apparent that Jey Uso would be next in line. He would be the tribal chief following Roman Reigns' reign at the top. And I feel like it's now gotten to that point where we are edging closer and closer to that next evolution of Jey Uso. He was a great tag team competitor with his twin brother Jimmy Uso. Then he became main event Jey Uso until he became the world champion Jey Uso. And now, is it a possibility that we can see him following in the footsteps of his cousin Roman Reigns and being a tribal chief? That is a development for later down the road, but it's still something to keep an eye on in regards to the WWE right now. Shout out to LJ in the chat, says, hi, how you doing, my friend? I'm glad you joined us here on a Monday night. LJ says, I'm mad that the Usos lost to Punk and LA Knight. I like the Usos. They're one of my favorite tag teams right now, but if CM Punk is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. For those of us that are newer to the channel, my top 3 wrestlers for me personally, at number 3, Eddie Guerrero, number 2, CM Punk, and at number 1, Shawn Michaels. So him taking the loss, or rather them taking the loss to LA Knight and to CM Punk, doesn't really hurt me because I'm a big CM Punk fan. I'm curious to see what we do next with Punk, whether or not it's a potential storyline here with LA Knight. That is what I would believe is next up for him, but clearly his issues with Seth Rollins are far from over. But yes, LA Knight and CM Punk get the victory over the Usos, reluctantly get the victory over the Usos in what was, I thought, a fun matchup, especially for the main event. It was something a little fresh. We saw a lot about the Vision closing out the show, but now we get the Usos versus another set of baby faces in Knight and Punk. So I enjoyed that. I thought it was a good tag team matchup. And speaking of tag team matchup, the next matchup here that is scheduled for Crown Jewel pits Rhea Ripley, the Eradicator, and Io Sky versus her former family in the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka. This matchup I am looking forward to. I'm a fan of all 4 women. I think they are fantastic, phenomenal in the ring, and to see the story that has been told over time. Io Sky, who was the former world champion earlier this year, was beginning to rise up the ranks of the WWE audience and began breaking away from the group that was Damage Control in a similar fashion that Bayley did about a year ago. So we saw a little bit of tension between Io and Asuka, and we could see that little by little they were beginning to kind of separate from one another. Io was on top of the world, literally, as the world champion. We saw someone like Rhea Ripley continuously get involved in her business and help out Io Sky, and this did not sit well with Asuka. Kairi a little bit hesitant, as she was really the peacekeeper in it all, but Asuka, who was the mentor, I guess still is the mentor to Kairi, but was the mentor to Io Sky, it didn't sit well with her. She was telling Io that Rhea's not your family. Why is Rhea helping you out? Is she your new friend? I thought we were your friends. And Io looked at it like, hey, it's not my fault that she's coming out to help me. She's a friend. And so over time, the jealousy, the envy that would come out of Asuka became a boiling point to where she misted Rhea Ripley, and then she delivered the mist to Io Sky last weekend, and what I thought was a great showing there as well. Whenever someone gets a little bit of mist in their eye, that's always an entertaining part of the show. But now we're on a collision course of Damage Control members, where it will be Io and Rhea Ripley, who's not a member of the group but by association. They will be taking on the Kabuki Warriors. I'm looking forward to it. I think in terms of the story, this isn't going to be one and done. I think this is building towards an Asuka versus Io Sky matchup one-on-one. It's the matchup that I would love to see. I love what I saw on tonight's episode of Raw between Io and Kairi, and to see Io go up against someone like Asuka, give those ladies enough time in the ring, and they could steal the show, and very well may give a match of the year type of a performance because they just have that caliber of talent between one another. I look at Rhea Ripley. She does not necessarily need to be in the storyline, as she could always be in a world title picture, but I'm glad to see them take a break from that. I think Rhea Ripley could be inserted into the title picture whenever, very similar to like a Charlotte Flair, even though I'm not a big fan of them doing that. It is the same kind of situation, and although she does not necessarily need to be in the storyline, I think it works well in her favor because we don't want to oversaturate the title picture with the same names over and over again. With that being said, whenever it comes to a multi-person matchup, especially a tag team matchup like this, for me it's process of elimination. Okay, it's not about who wins the matchup. To me, it's who loses the matchup, who's taking the pin or is submitting in the matchup. I'm going to tell you right now, book it. Put all the money in the world that you have, every little bank that you have in your savings, the little pennies in your piggy bank there. Put all the money down that Rhea Ripley is not taking the pin or submitting. They are not going to have Rhea lose this matchup, specifically due to the reason that the heat is not on Rhea. Right now, it is between the Kabuki Warriors and Io. That is the main story being told here. So, Rhea is not taking that pin. Asuka, I don't think, is taking the pin either, because the heat is between her and Io, and that is something that we want to save for a one-on-one contest for the very same reason. I don't think Io takes the loss either, because I think in the future we do get that one-on-one matchup. Kairi gets the victory over Io on today's episode of Monday Night Raw. Yes, I know they technically cheated, but that tells me that Io is more susceptible to getting revenge on Kairi. I think the babyface team of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, two former world champions, they get the victory over the Kabuki Warriors. Specifically, Io gets the fall on Kairi Sane, and that will help build up the one-on-one contest between Asuka and Io. Maybe, hear me out here, a potential War Games matchup between the women and have a Team Asuka versus Team Io. That is a possibility. I don't know. I think it's a strong possibility, with the one-on-one contest potentially being on like a Saturday night's main event. I don't think it should be on an episode of Monday Night Raw. I think Asuka versus Io is a big enough matchup to where it should be featured on a premium live event. But that episode of Saturday night's main event, I think the next one's December 13th, which is the final showing, the final match of John Cena. So will they hold off on Asuka versus Io until December 13th? Not entirely sure. But again, for those of us just joining, I think Kairi and Asuka take the L to Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And the story between the Kabuki Warriors and Io, far from over. I see Will here in the chat says, hello Jose, how are things going within the WWE Universe, first off, and second off, how are things going within the Bay Area? Well, first and foremost, the WWE is kind of a tumultuous thing with the fans right now. Obviously, there's a lot of complaints that I think are valid when it comes to like the pricing of tickets. I think for sure these guys are charging too much for the tickets. I think there's a lot of instances where it's become apparent that it's become a business, a conscientious business decision to up the prices, not only for the events, for the tickets, and then the ESPN deal that just came out, about a month or two ago. Clearly, they're very business-centric right now, and it's not really fun for the common fan, for you and I, who are the paying customers that watch every show. And I'll speak for myself, almost are getting priced out of these shows because the tickets are just, so expensive. In terms of on TV, I still think it's okay. I think there are some instances where it could be better. But I remember back in the WWE, like in 2018 and 2019, it was far worse. So I will much rather take the creative now than that period back in like 2019, 100%. In terms of the Bay Area, hey, the San Francisco 49ers, we are currently rocking with a 4-1 record. The Niners recently just defeated the LA Rams last Thursday night to have a 3-0 record against the division. We have already defeated the Cardinals, thankfully, the Seahawks, gracefully, and the Rams, tragically, I guess, for the Rams. Life's good right now. The Warriors had a preseason game against the LA Lakers. They got the victory there. All we're missing are my San Francisco Giants, who unfortunately could not qualify for the baseball playoffs, but it is what it is. You can't win them every year. So right now we are fully focused on the NFL for the San Francisco 49ers, and of course with a level of anticipation and excitement for Stephen Curry and the boys out in Golden State. But I appreciate the question, Will. Thank you so much on checking up on us here in our regular sports talk on pro wrestling and NFL, NBA, MLB. Any questions like that, feel free to throw them our way in the chat, and make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel, because it's the only way you're going to be able to take part in these conversations, as if you are subscribed to the channel itself. Will the Savage also goes on to say, I was shocked when Mac Jones had a great game unlike him in the Pats. You're not the only one. So I appreciate the question here as well, because I'm very passionate about the 49ers as well. You can ask my brother. We bleed red and gold here in this household. You can see, thankfully, behind me here, you can see the Jerry Rice frame jersey, a couple of frames over here as well. Very big 49er fans. My brother and I, we were very hesitant as to having Mac Jones on our team. We were not the biggest fans of Mac Jones. Having him now with the Niners and having a 3-0 record and really having a gutsy performance. His performance against the Rams, I think, is going to be an all-timer, because that, for me at least, and I think I can speak for my brother, earned a huge level of respect from us. Mac Jones has solidified himself in our, family as a Niner quarterback. I appreciate what he was able to do and what he was able to accomplish last Thursday, putting his body on the line and help leading the team to victory. And with that being said, Mac Jones, man, you're all right. You know that you're all right. But I appreciate that. We go from one of the greatest football franchises of all time in the San Francisco 49ers, of course I'm biased, to one of the greatest of all time, John Cena, will be going one-on-one with AJ Styles. These guys are bound to create magic. It was announced not too long ago that John Cena and AJ Styles were going to do battle again at Crown Jewel. And the wrestling world collectively, I think, just finally had a yes type of a moment. Finally, we had the Brock Lesnar matchup that nobody asked for, but now we get AJ Styles versus John Cena, who are, again, they're going to create magic. I have all the faith in the world in these two individuals. AJ, who's the phenomenal one for a reason, but then John Cena, who recently had phenomenal performances against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, against Logan Paul at Clash in Paris, against Sami Zayn on that episode of SmackDown for the United States Championship. So he still very much has it in him to provide these spectacular matches so late in the game. And now, with this being his 5th to last appearance in the WWE, they're going to try to go all out for these last few bits. Him and AJ Styles, I'm predicting that these guys go like 25 minutes. I think that's a sweet spot here for especially these two, because we know it's going to be the last time that they go one-on-one with one another. I cannot wait for it. I think AJ Styles is one of the perfect examples of who John Cena should have been facing in this farewell tour. And with now 5 appearances left, that's counting the Crown Jewel event, we have to ensure that we appreciate the last that we have of not only John Cena, but of AJ Styles, because he's winding down his career as well. It might be next year that AJ Styles retires. So, in the past, we know that Money in the Bank, AJ Styles got the victory over John Cena and did it again at SummerSlam 2016 and at Royal Rumble 2017. That was where John Cena defeated AJ Styles for the first time, and it was also the same night he had tied the record for World Championship wins with Ric Flair, as he earned his 16th World Championship that night in a matchup that is so fondly remembered by fans as the match in which neither individual left the ring. It is an all-timer for Cena and for AJ Styles, and if you haven't seen that, I strongly urge you to go back and check out John Cena versus AJ Styles at the 2017 event Royal Rumble. LJ, have a good one, my friend. I'm glad you were able to hear and join us on the stream. Hopefully to see you on the next one. Will the Savages, I've seen a lot of news in the New England Sports article and how the Patriots got rid of Jones because, you know what, and sometimes it just wasn't a good fit for Mac Jones. It's not about where you've been, it's where you end up. And Mac Jones, I certainly think it benefited from his time in New England and even as a backup to Trevor Lawrence. But to him, to come to the Niners and be a backup to Brock Purdy and to learn under the Kyle Shanahan tree, I think will benefit him in the long run. I believe he signed a 2-year deal with us as a backup, so hopefully we're able to get some good use of Mac Jones, and hopefully he can get good use of his time with the Niners as well to further his career. So I appreciate the football talk there. Sir Robert says it will be a good match, but there is no way AJ loses this. Sir Robert with a great segue back into the match. That is AJ Styles versus John Cena. This matchup, to me, it's very difficult to predict because I could see it going both ways. I could see your argument here that AJ Styles does not lose the matchup. However, I don't know if John Cena loses this matchup. He just suffered a loss to Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza in a match that I really don't think needed to happen, truthfully. If John Cena were to lose this matchup, it builds a level of sympathy for him. I feel like the crowd wants him to win so badly at this point. And there is an important factoid to remember that John Cena is currently chasing the 100th victory on a premium live event. He's only second place to The Undertaker, who has 107. Do they use this as the opportunity to give him that 100th victory, or do we wait until the Survivor Series, where it will be his final premium live event? On the flip side here, AJ Styles, I don't think he necessarily needs the win. I think AJ, he's set, in terms of his positioning in the company. He could win this matchup, and what would they do with it? Would they catapult him to the world title? I don't think so, because right now it's very apparent that Punk, LA Knight, and Jey Uso are in that mix. If he loses, does it hurt him as much? I still don't think so. I think with John Cena having lost against Brock Lesnar in the fashion that he did, I think John Cena goes over here. I think AJ could very well win the matchup, but I think John wins here, tying their series 2-2, as AJ has 2 victories over him in one-on-one competition, and like I said, Royal Rumble 2017 was where John Cena got his win back. I pick John Cena to win, defeating AJ Styles in what I think will be an all-time classic, hopefully something that we will remember fondly during this farewell tour, just as we do with the Cody Rhodes matchup at SummerSlam. I'm going to preface that, the SummerSlam one, and the Sami Zayn matchup as well. Logan Paul had a great showing, but I think some of these matches will be more fondly remembered. So I'm going to go John Cena here, and for those of us that are just joining the live stream, we are predicting each matchup that is scheduled for the Crown Jewel event. We already talked about the tag team matchup for the women. We talked about the street fight. We just had John Cena versus AJ Styles as my prediction. If you just missed those predictions, make sure you check the entire live stream in the archives following its conclusion of tonight's live stream. Once again, I want to thank you guys for joining us here on a Monday night live stream following Monday Night Raw, talking pro wrestling with all of you, my friends in the J area. Let's head back here. Will the Savage says, I feel that AJ Styles will not like beating up John Cena. I mean, it was a very favorite pastime for AJ Styles back in the day. He loved beating up John Cena. And I don't think that he wouldn't mind doing it one more time. Certainly when it's one of the last times we're going to see this matchup happen. Actually, the last time we're going to see this happen. I feel like if I'm in the shoes of John Cena, I want AJ Styles to bring everything he got. I do not want him to pull his punches, to hold back. I want the very best of AJ Styles to prove to everybody that, hey, I'm not taking the cakewalk here in these final, matches of my career. AJ Styles versus John Cena is the matchup that we've been wanting as fans, and finally, we're going to get that at Crown Jewel. I'm just getting word here. Shout out. Monday Night Football. We're talking about football, and we're just getting word here that the Kansas City Chiefs have taken an L to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That makes me feel a little bit better about when we lost to Jacksonville, but not as much as it makes me feel better knowing the Kansas City Chiefs are now 2-3 in the NFL. You guys already know, as a 49er fan, we detest the Chiefs, and anytime that they lose, it is an exhilarating experience here in the household. So shout out to Trevor Lawrence and the boys down in Jacksonville, and obviously the Khan family by virtue, tying it back up with pro wrestling, but shout out to them for getting it done tonight on Monday Night Football. 99-yard pick six, by the way. If you haven't seen it, Devin Lloyd, look it up. Devin Lloyd, 99-yard pick six. Very impressive stuff. Love it. Sir Robert says anything now is not as good as Cody versus Randy. I would love to see that matchup, especially with a Randy heel turn. That's where the money's at, I think. Randy turns heel, going after Cody. Maybe he's the guy that beats Cody for the championship and gets a 15th title reign. Would not be opposed to that. Will the Savage says Jacksonville Jags is a crazy team. They're a sneaky team, man. Give them their credit. They're a very sneaky team. They've already gotten, what is that, 4 wins on the year? 4-1 for Jacksonville. Good for them, man. That's a team that I did not think was going to amount to anything this year. But Trevor Lawrence and the boys, man, 4-1 on the year. Good for them. Sitting firmly atop of the AFC South. Robert says Tony Khan is shouting, I bet. Good for them winning that one. Again, it makes me feel a little bit better about losing to them, although I think we could have won that game and be undefeated, but that's not how the cookie crumbles, so we move forward to Tampa Bay as we face the Buccaneers in Week 6. Next up on the matchup here, we have the WWE Women's Champion going one-on-one with the World Champion, Tiffany Stratton, versus Stephanie Vaquer for the Crown Jewel Championship to determine who is the top woman in the division. A sneaky matchup that I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about, but I think will outperform what the expectations will be. Stephanie Vaquer, all class. I mean, the talent that this woman has, and we're only scratching the surface here in her very early career in the WWE, against Tiffany Stratton, who has all the potential in the world. Very young, very bright future ahead for her. And I feel like these two can put on quite the matchup here. Tiffany Stratton has been the champion since January 3rd of this year, winning it on an episode of SmackDown after cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase on Nia Jax, and has not looked back as she has defeated the likes of Nia Jax, Jade Cargill, amongst others, Charlotte Flair also on that list, and Stephanie Vaquer, who just recently won the World Championship after defeating Io Sky at the WrestlePalooza event. This matchup, one-on-one, I find very appealing. The athleticism in this matchup here, it's something fresh. It's a fresh matchup that we haven't seen in the WWE. With that being said, though, because of how fresh her title reign is, and because it's very apparent how highly they think of Stephanie, I cannot see her taking the loss here. I think Stephanie pins Tiffany Stratton. We get something in the making for Tiffany because right now we're in a spot where I feel like they're getting a little bit complacent with her. She's been facing the same women, naturally every event now. And now that she's dispatched both Nia and Jade, we have to move forward for her. I think her championship days are certainly numbered, but I think Stephanie goes over here and wins that Crown Jewel Championship ring and that huge oversized title that they have for them. So I'm going to go Stephanie Vaquer in a great matchup. I'm expecting a really good matchup here for both women. Will the Savage says plus Tony Khan's dad is pretty good at their picks for drafting. It took a minute there because they have been struggling these last couple of years ever since drafting Trevor Lawrence in the 2021 draft. It seemed like they were very much underachieving in the NFL, but it looks like now all those drafts are starting to pay off for them. And in a division that it has the Colts, who are having a decent year themselves. They also have the Titans, who just got their first victory against the Cardinals. Thank you, Tennessee, for giving me a reason to smile. And, of course, the Houston Texans, who are struggling very much this year. The division seems wide open for the Jacksonville Jaguars to dominate. So if they're able to keep this up with the level of competitiveness and just the consistency that they have had in terms of the defense, wait for them to make the playoffs as a division champion for sure, and to see what they can do in the NFL playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see. That's not for another couple months, but still something to watch out for in the world of the NFL. But in the world of the WWE, all this talk about quarterbacks in the NFL, and we have to bring quarterback, the QB1 of WWE, and that's the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. How's that for a segue? Pretty damn good. He'll be going up against another football fan, Chicago Bear fan, Seth Rollins, the world champion. One-on-one for the first time since 2022, their legendary Hell in a Cell matchup that saw Cody Rhodes compete with a torn pectoral tendon. He has 3 victories over Seth Rollins. He owns Seth Rollins in one-on-one competition, having defeated him at WrestleMania 38, Backlash, and the Hell in a Cell matchup that I just mentioned a couple seconds ago. So Cody Rhodes has the number of Seth Rollins, and in these recent weeks of TV, we've seen the psyche of Seth Rollins begin to unravel. He has become consumed. He has become just incensed on defeating Cody Rhodes. He says, I have to beat him. I have to beat him. He asked Paul Heyman tonight on Monday Night Raw, what if I don't beat him? And Paul Heyman trying to, reassure Seth Rollins, you're going to beat him. He says, no, but what if I don't? And with that type of a mentality, you can already see the cracks in Seth Rollins. He's in there. Cody Rhodes is in there rent-free. He has a whole apartment complex rent-free in the mind of Seth Rollins. And if Seth Rollins doesn't lock in, he will suffer a fourth straight loss to the American Nightmare. This is all or nothing for Seth Rollins, because as Paul Heyman said on Monday Night Raw, you lose this matchup, you lose the locker room. They no longer have faith in the Vision. They don't believe in the Architect. They don't believe in the Revolutionary, the Visionary. They don't believe in you anymore. And above all else, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, they're going to have to question the leader that is Seth Rollins. And if that wasn't the kicker, Paul Heyman says, if you don't win this matchup, I'm going to have to question myself as to why I aligned myself with you instead of Roman Reigns. And all that to say that really Seth Rollins is in a must-win situation. Cody Rhodes win this matchup. Good for him. He's supposed to. He's a top dog. He's the number one babyface in the promotion. If he loses this matchup, it's not the end of the world for Cody. If Seth Rollins does, he's running the risk of being demoted down a tier in the eyes of the audience, in the eyes of the locker room, and potentially in the eyes of the Oracle, Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins can't lose this matchup for two reasons. One, narrative-wise, he can't lose this matchup, but also because just reputation-wise. He suffers a fourth loss to Cody Rhodes. This could begin the end of Seth Rollins' reign as world champion. With all that being said, I gotta go Seth Rollins to win this. Seth Rollins has everything to lose, and yet at the same time has everything to win from a victory against Cody Rhodes. Bragging rights as well are in order, as Cody Rhodes is currently the reigning and defending Crown Jewel champion, having defeated the Ring General last year in the Crown Jewel Championship match. So if Seth Rollins gets a victory over Cody Rhodes, this does wonders for him and the Vision. My only hope is that Seth Rollins is able to do so without the help of the Vision, because you get a guy like Braun Breaker or Paul Heyman or Bronson Reed involved here, it taints the victory for me. I think Cody Rhodes is well off, taking the loss, because he'll be fine. It's not like it's going to be him losing to some kind of John Doe on the street. No, it's Seth Rollins, who's one of the best in the world right now. Sorry, CM Punk. But he beats Cody Rhodes and he solidifies himself on top of the world. And I feel like the most dangerous Seth Rollins there is that cocky, that confident, that conniving, and any other C word that you want to add, careful now, to Seth Rollins. That is the most dangerous Seth Rollins. Is it going to be the main event? It damn well should be. If it's not AJ versus Cena, it will be Cody versus Seth Rollins. And that matchup, to me, is my most anticipated matchup of the night. I want to see Cena versus AJ. Don't get me wrong. I'm super hyped for that. But I know it's a one-off. I want to see what the ramifications are of the outcome that is Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Everything that we've seen these last few years has been building up to this. The return of Cody, beating Seth Rollins, him finishing his story, and Seth Rollins coming out and being the shield for Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 and their short-lived partnership against the Bloodline. All of that builds to here. Perth, Australia, October 11th, Saturday, Crown Jewel. I'm excited for the show. I hope you guys are excited for the show. And make sure you guys drop in your predictions and your thoughts in the chats and the comments below, because I would love to hear from all of you. Sir Robert says, why are they doing this matchup? You're going to have to help me out on which one that was. Forgot all of a sudden about CM Punk. Will the Savage says, but I'm a Cowboys fan down since day one. I respect that. I don't like the Cowboys because I'm a Niner fan. Remember that. But you said you've been down since day one, so I know you've been through it. So I respect that. NFC East all line up and knock them down like that. I just realized you went through the whole Jey Uso song. Shout out there. Sir Robert says last year Cody beat Gunther. What happened? Well, last year they made it official. Last year they announced that every year at Crown Jewel they were going to have a champion versus champion matchup. So last year Gunther and Cody were the champions. Cody got the victory, so he won the ring and championship. This year, Cody still the champion. Seth is the champion now, so they're going to go against each other for this year's Crown Jewel Championship. So it was announced last year that it would be a yearly thing. Let's see how long it actually lasts. I would not be surprised if it's like a 2-year, 3-year deal. But every year they're going to have a champion versus champion matchup at Crown Jewel. So they said per last year. But those are my predictions for Crown Jewel. Again, if you're just joining us, my name is Jose Ramos Jr., a lifelong fan of professional wrestling, inviting you guys to join us in the stream and chat with us about the WWE's Crown Jewel event. Share your predictions in the chat below. And if you missed my predictions, make sure you check out the earlier portion of the stream in the archives following the completion of this live stream. But if you feel ever so inclined, why not become a member of the Main Event Mafia, where you're going to get exclusive content like videos, posts, polls, and shorts that other people will not have access to. For example, people who are members of the Main Event Mafia already got a sneak peek as to what the next Dark Side of the Ring topic will be this month. It'll come out October 15th. We'll have our next Dark Side of the Ring video topic. I'm looking real forward to it. I just finished recording it and I'm now in the editing process, so that'll be fun for me to share with all of you. Also, if you haven't already, checked out the TNA versus WWE Super event that I fantasy booked this past week on Thursday. I understand it might have been a little bit early for some people joining the live stream, so for people who had missed the entirety of the stream, I went ahead and condensed it, edited it, added some pictures, some nice visuals for you guys to check out. So that is now up to date. If you missed the Super event on Thursday, consider checking out that video where I just condensed it and edited what the Super event would look like. That's TNA versus WWE. It was just uploaded earlier today. I would love to hear your guys' feedback as to what match you would be looking forward to the most, or maybe your thoughts on the event itself and how I booked it. I'm always very receptive and excited to see what you guys have to say about the videos, about the topics, as well as just the world of professional wrestling. Will Savage, I know a lot of WWE songs because I've been listening to them for 5 years now. Shout out, Will. What's your favorite entrance theme? It's very difficult to rank, right? But if you had to go with one that you think is the best, I've always been very partial to Metalingus, Edge's theme song. I think Triple H, The Game, Motorhead is iconic as well. And if I'm really in the mood for something very simplistic, I think Stone Cold has one of the greatest theme songs of all time. It's simple. It gets you going when the glass shatters, and just a simple, dun 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 dun. Like it's just so iconic, so simple, but yet everyone knows exactly who it is. And I want to give a quick shout out too to Jim Johnston, who helped produce a lot of those theme songs from the 90s and 2000s. If anybody should go in the Hall of Fame that is on the production side of the WWE, Jim Johnston 100% should go in there. Iconic with all these theme songs. Will the Savage says Mark Henry's Some Bodies by 3-6 Mafia. I can remember the year was 2006. I believe it was in the fall, but 3-6 Mafia came out to perform for Mark Henry. And I will never forget that because I thought it was so cool to see a live performance on an episode of SmackDown. I agree with you. It's a great one. It certainly gets me going. So Robert says, thank you. Any idea how to watch the next PLE? You're really down to two options here, Robert. I mean, if you're in the States, it would be on ESPN, where they will be streaming the rest of the premium live events. And I understand, $30 a month it's excessive, right? If you're outside of North America, or actually no, I think it's if you're outside of the U.S., it's available on Netflix. If you are in America and you don't want to pay the $30 a month for ESPN, you could always consider getting a VPN. And I believe NordVPN is like maybe $14 a month. Have it set to like Canada or whatever country you want, and you can watch it internationally on Netflix. But it's up to you. I've done it both ways. I've tried the VPN, and I thought it was cool, but because of issues with our TVs, listen. VPN is probably your best point. If not, it's going to be on the ESPN app that you'd have to pay $30 a month for. That's what I do. I do it through ESPN, which is crazy as a pro wrestling fan because it's like, damn, that's basically pay-per-view all over again. But for me, like I've always said, if you're a pro wrestling fan, yeah, $30 a month is kind of steep. It's very steep, especially given the quality. Don't know if you caught that, but that might have been my battery for my. But if you're like me, as I reach for my charger, if you're like me and you're a very big sports fan, the ESPN app is fine, I think, because you get access to NFL, MLB, NBA, WWE, and it's just a little bit of everything for your taste. Now, if you're just a fan of pro wrestling, like I said, $30 is kind of steep, and the VPN might be your best bet to try to watch it through Netflix on a discounted price, essentially. But yeah, this Saturday, also, I haven't talked about it, but quick shout out here. This Saturday, Crown Jewel, right? Tomorrow is NXT Invasion. I'm not calling it Showdown. It's Invasion to me. NXT versus TNA, and that'll lead into Bound for Glory on Sunday. The big show for TNA. It's essentially their flagship pay-per-view. I'll be checking that out, of course. And then December, October 18th is Wrestle Dream. Not to mention the following week, October 25th, is Halloween Havoc. So we have 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 major events this month in October. And we're going to be covering each event, giving out predictions, giving our reactions to the event. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications. That way you are made aware when we go live here on YouTube so you can join in on the discussion. Speaking of joining the discussion, what's going on, Reese? How are you doing, my friend? I'm hoping you're doing well. Hopefully you had a great weekend. I know I did, seeing all the NFC West rivals take a fat L. So that made me happy. But I'm happy now to see another one of our friends here in the chat. Will the Savage here shout out for Mark Henry's theme song by 3-6 Mafia. That's a great theme song. And again, it goes back to sometimes the best entrance themes are the simple ones. And I think Mark Henry is a perfect example of something that's very simple, but it's memorable, it's catchy, and it still works to this day. Shout out to 3-6 Mafia. But again, if you're just joining us here live on a Monday night following Monday Night Raw, we were talking Crown Jewel. I would really urge you guys to check out the TNA versus WWE video that we uploaded earlier today. Let me know what you guys think. We are doing fantastic in the subscriber count as well, guys. We are under 500 subs away from 10,000. That is awesome. That is spectacular. It's all in large thanks to all of you guys allowing us to be a part of your daily wrestling routine and allowing this to be a part of your wrestling experience. And that is awesome, not only for me as a wrestling fan, but just as an aspiring, I guess, content creator at this point, I guess I could say. It's awesome, man. I hope the hope was to get to 10,000 by the end of the year, and it's like we might get to 10,000 by the end of the month. And if that's the case, I am planning a special video / stream, whatever we decide in the end. But I do want to share that experience and this accomplishment with all of you guys, because The name of the channel is mine, but I tell you what, the accomplishments, the achievements, and the memories are all ours. And I want to make sure to include you guys as well, because it would not be possible with any of you guys. We are fastly, really quickly approaching 10,000 subs. And man, Will the Savages, I'm glad I am part of the J Area Pod. Not as glad as I am. I want to say that, not as glad as I am. I appreciate each of you guys who take the time out of your day to join us here, talk pro wrestling, and just hang out. You know, it's like hanging out with a couple of friends, just kicking back, maxing and relaxing, and talking about pro wrestling. You guys direct the conversation, and you certainly direct the trajectory that we're on here on YouTube. And I've got a couple of special things planned when, not if, but when we hit 10,000, as well as Halloween. Halloween is this month, and Halloween is probably my second favorite holiday, right behind Christmas. So I am planning a special Halloween live stream, not on the 31st, but it'll be on the 30th. But still, make sure you tune in October 30th, Thursday, for our Halloween live stream. Have some things excited for that. Will the Savage says, I thank you for your pro wrestling talk, and I appreciate your time too. Pleasure's all mine, buddy. The pleasure's all mine. When I first set out, and if people remember, you know, the early instances of this channel, it was a hiccup. You know what I mean? Like, it was a little bit of a roadblock building what we were building here. But when I set out and made the change to talk about pro wrestling, it became so seamless for me. It's something that I'm very passionate about, have been passionate about for the last 25 years. I have not been able to quit this beautiful thing of professional wrestling. Once I got bit by the wrestling bug, I could not get rid of it. And being able to just become a fan of so many different styles of wrestling, whether it's technical, whether it's lucha libre, whether it's strong style, being a fan of different promotions, AEW, WWE, TNA, NXT, AAA, CMLL, New Japan. There's just so many damn letters. But becoming a fan of it, it never got tiresome. And in my life, there's always been like one person I know I can talk to about pro wrestling, and that's obviously my brother, who you guys have met on stream. Shout out to him. And I don't want to bug him too much about it, so it was like, okay, I know there's other people here online in the pro wrestling community that are just as big of fans as I am, and I would love to incorporate them in the discourse and create a community to where they can come out after watching a show and just come out and hang and just talk, ask questions, chat about whatever. And it's become such a great community. One of my first, hesitancies when creating this channel was, man, there's going to be those people who are negative and you're going to troll naturally, as everybody does. Everybody trolls. I get it. But we have been able to create a community here that is so positive, so welcoming, very inquisitive. And I'm going to tell you right now, a very smart group of wrestling fans as well, to be a part of the conversation and welcome old fans, new fans, young fans onto the channel. And it makes me feel very fulfilled knowing that we are doing something here that I would think is going to last for a long time. So a big round of applause to you guys. Much thanks, and congratulations to you guys as well. Once we hit 10,000, it's a big monumental moment for the channel, but it's very much a big monumental win for all of you guys as well. And I know I talked about my brother. I got to give him a quick shout out as well. It will be my brother's birthday this upcoming Thursday. So I'm going to tell you right now, probably do not expect a stream on Thursday. We're going to spend the day as a family celebrating him and his birthday, and I look forward to hanging out with the family and just celebrating him. So this upcoming Thursday, everybody who is in this, on the stream right now, make sure you guys wish San Fran a very happy birthday, and we'll see you guys following on the weekend. We'll go live discussing Bound for Glory and the Crown Jewel event. But that's going to be the plan for Thursday. We're going to be celebrating my brother's birthday. So very much looking forward to that. Will the Savages, I had just bought a $10 Dominic Mysterio numbered to 229, and it's worth, wow. Congratulations, man. Dominic Mysterio too, one of my favorites. I will say this guy has really grown on me. Did you guys see his T-shirt on Raw today, where it was like the old picture of Dominic on the PSP back in '05? Shout out to Will the Savage there saying happy birthday. He is just getting off of work. My boy worked all day. He had a double shift today. So shout out to him putting in that work. And so if he doesn't see this, I will let him know that you guys are sending your birthday wishes. Shout out to Mama Ramos. If anybody should be wishing him a happy birthday, it's Mama Ramos because she would remember that day for sure. But I think it goes without saying, because I won't be going live on Thursday, and as we begin to close today's live stream, I just want to take the moment to not only say happy birthday to him, but I've never been shy about my admiration, my love for my family. And hold on here. We almost got cut off there for a moment. They were trying to stop me from getting sentimental, but you know what? We refreshed it, we checked the connection, and we're back and running. They're not going to stop me from here. Closing out the stream strong. As I was saying, man, very appreciative, very grateful to have him in my life and sharing all the experiences that we have had. Everything wrestling related. I mean, our first wrestling event, Judgment Day 2006, we sat next to each other. WrestleMania 26, we sat next to each other. Anytime there is a Marvel movie, because we're very big Marvel fans, we have made it a conscientious effort to attend every single opening weekend for Marvel, and we sit next to each other. I could not have asked for a better tag team partner in life than my brother. All love to my sister, don't get me wrong. My baby sister, I think she is very much the other half of me. If I was a girl, that would be my sister, and I feel like we complement each other very well. But my brother and I feel like we complement each other to the point where it's like a yin yang. He fills in the pieces that I don't fill in, and vice versa. He is the Jeff Hardy to my Matt Hardy. He is the Triple H to my Shawn Michaels, and I could not have asked for a better set of siblings than the ones that I have. So I hope this Thursday he is able to enjoy his special day, because I know how hard he has worked this last year, not only in terms of his job, in terms of his personal life, and in terms of his personal adventure in YouTube. He recently, got back into streaming on YouTube. If you guys want to check out his channel, it is SanFran5. He does go live on occasion, doing gameplay, whether it is wrestling, Resident Evil. He recently did the Batman series. So if you're a fan of gaming and just having a good time and just messing around with mods on gaming, that is, consider subscribing to his channel, as he is trying to reach his goals here on YouTube, and he has been very receptive and appreciative for the love that you guys have sent his way. I would love to have him more on screen here with us, but I understand that his schedule and my schedule kind of conflict with one another. So whenever we're able to have him here on stream, it's always a great time. And I can't thank you guys enough for being very welcoming and receptive again of having him here, because he was very hesitant as well. Being on screen, I'm sure all of us are the same way. We can be a little camera shy at first, but over time we just grow more comfortable with it. And just a major thank you to all you guys for welcoming us into your routine, into your YouTube experience, and I guess for me personally, your pro wrestling experience. And I see some more activity here in the chat. I see Gabs, shout out to one of the MVPs there. Says happy birthday to my favorite San Fran person. I hope you have tons of fun along with your loved ones. And Gabs also says, San Fran, best tag team in my book. You know what? I will gladly accept that. I appreciate that. For me, it's still the Hardys. But I mean, hey, if I'm in the conversation along with him, that makes my entire year. That makes my life, knowing that, hey, we are held in high regard. All love, Gabs. Thank you so much. Will the Savages, thank you for your time. And I have school tomorrow, and I have a great night. Hit the books, Will. Stay in school. Make sure you educate yourself for sure. You're never too old to keep learning. So I appreciate you for joining us on today's stream, Will. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Hopefully you have a great day at school and you keep killing it like I know you're already doing, my friend. And I hope to see you in the next stream. We'll keep going for a couple more minutes here Make sure you guys sound off in the chat. Let me know what you guys thought about Monday Night Raw. Some predictions for Crown Jewel. Any questions that you have my way, please feel free to send them, and I'll get to each of them as we continue to close out this Monday Night Raw stream here on YouTube. What are some of your... We have Halloween coming around the corner. What are some of your favorite Halloween costumes that you guys have had in the past? It doesn't have to be wrestling related. You know, it could be anything Halloween. As I said earlier, Halloween is my second favorite holiday. Some of my favorites, I was Jason Voorhees, I think a couple years ago. Was it 2021? I think it might have been. I was Jason Voorhees, and that one I thought really came together pretty well, specifically from Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, I think is the best Jason movie of all time. But that one is very much up there as probably my favorite Halloween costume. You guys saw on a previous post I had here on the community tab, I was The Rock, specifically the turtleneck and the chain look of The Rock. I was that maybe in 2022. I was Woody 2023. And then last year, I don't think I dressed up, to tell you the truth. I don't think I dressed up last year. So we'll see what I have in store for this year, specifically for that Halloween stream. I'm hoping that you guys can join us. It'll be October 30th, a Thursday, the day before the Halloween holiday. So hopefully you guys can join us there, and I have a little bit of surprises there. Sir Robert says, lastly, have you seen the ticket? I have seen the ticket prices for John Cena's last match. Now, here's the thing. I talked about it at the top of the stream where the pricing for these tickets are ludicrous. Shout out to Chris Bridges and the Fast and Furious franchise. They are ludicrous. But for John Cena's last match, I'll concede. I'll give you that one because it's John Cena's last match. Unless if he comes out of retirement, which I would hate. I hate that Ric Flair did that. If this is Cena's last match, he needs to hold that true. I don't want to see Cena have another match if this is supposed to be the last one. If in fact this is the final time we're going to see John Cena bell to bell in the ring, then I get it. They are going to try to raise those prices as to what the tickets are going to be for his final matchup. Is it right? Not necessarily, but you know there's going to be people out there willing to pay for it because it's his last match. Would I pay for it? Not at this moment in my life because I'm still working a full-time job outside of this while we're trying to get this builded. But it's ridiculous, man. These prices are crazy. And you know what? With all due respect, I'd rather just stay at the home, my own comfortable home, as I get to eat my snacks at my leisure and get up to use the restroom, rather than having to get out of my seat and go, hundreds of yards away to find the nearest restroom. I'll stay at home, unless if it was for, like a WrestleMania. Imagine if WrestleMania came back to Arizona. I'd have to start saving up money last year if I want to go to a WrestleMania in Arizona, it sounds like. But no. It's ridiculous, man. What a way to end off the stream, man. We talked about prices at the beginning, and we're going to end the stream here on prices as well. Guys, once again, I really appreciate all you guys taking the time out of your night, day, whatever the time zone is, to come hang out with us here on YouTube, talking about pro wrestling, talking about the Crown Jewel event. If you liked this stream, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you comment down below. What is the matchup you're looking most forward to this upcoming weekend? Will you be checking out TNA versus NXT on Tuesday night? Will you be checking out Bound for Glory? If so, let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because that's the only way you're going to be able to participate in the streams. That's subscribing to the channel and joining the chat. And since you're already here, man, consider becoming a Main Event Mafia member, where you're going to get early access and sneak peeks to what we will do in the month of October. That includes videos, posts, polls, and shorts, and even more. I want to thank you guys for joining us today on stream. And as of one final thank you for today, why not go ahead? It's the beginning of a new month, which means YouTube gives me the opportunity to gift some memberships here. So we're going to give away 5 memberships here live right now as we close out tonight's Monday's stream. We have Daniel Lacey, Kurt2512, Grizzy, Kyle Hendricks, and Mary Portillo Mary Portillo. I think I might know who that is. All getting access to the main event mafia. Again, major thanks to all of you guys. All love on my part. I look forward to the next time I see you, and I hope you all have a great night. Have a great week. Everyone be safe. Take care. And we'll see you guys on the next edition of the J Area Wrestling Show. Thank you all very much.